The bank teller's laughter died in her throat the moment the numbers finished loading on her screen, and her manicured fingers froze above the keyboard, as if the marble counter beneath them had suddenly turned to ice. 30 seconds earlier, she had rolled her eyes at the exhausted man standing before her, a sleeping toddler resting over his shoulder, and a scratched, faded debit card trembling slightly in his outstretched hand. She had assumed, the way people so often assume, that a man in a torn denim jacket carrying a child at 10 o'clock on a weekday morning was just another face in a long line of people asking for help she wasn't paid to give. She could not have been more wrong. In the next few seconds, everything she believed about the man standing in front of her would fall apart. If you believe in second chances, and in the quiet strength of people who carry more than anyone else can see, hit that like button right now. Leave a comment below, share this story with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner so you never miss a story like this. A father carrying more than anyone could see. Daniel Reyes had not slept more than 4 hours a night in over a year. Since his wife, Claire, passed away from a sudden illness, he had become both mother and father to their 3-year-old daughter, Lily. Lily had her mother's golden curls and the same sweet habit of falling asleep in the middle of almost anything. She could fall asleep in the middle of a sentence, in the middle of a hug, in the middle of playing. It was as though the world sometimes asked too much of her little body. Daniel worked nights stocking shelves at a warehouse nearly an hour outside the city. During the mornings, he took any repair job he could find for cash because the banking app on his cracked phone kept showing a warning that his checking account was almost empty. He had not checked the account online in several days. He was afraid to. He had learned that fear became easier to carry when you refused to look directly at it. That morning, the automatic payment for Lily's daycare had failed. The daycare called him. The woman on the phone sounded kind but firm. If the payment was not received before noon, Lily's place could no longer be held. Daniel did what any loving father would do. He drove downtown. He parked illegally outside a shining glass tower that housed one of the city's biggest private banks. He carefully lifted his sleeping daughter into his arms so he would not wake her. Then he walked into a beautiful lobby that instantly made him feel like he did not belong there. The smile that quickly disappeared. The receptionist behind the marble counter was a young woman named Vanessa. Her name tag shined almost as brightly as her polished nails. She looked Daniel over from head to toe. She noticed the grease stain on his jacket sleeve, the dark circles under his tired eyes, the cracked phone sticking out of his back pocket. When Daniel quietly asked if she could simply check his account balance because his banking app would not load, Vanessa gave a short, mocking laugh. It was the kind of laugh people sometimes save for someone they believe is about to complain about overdraft charges. She accepted the card mostly to prove herself right. With practiced boredom, she slid it through the card reader. Then the screen finished loading. Vanessa stopped laughing. Complete silence replaced her smile. Her eyes moved across the numbers once, then again, then a third time. She honestly believed there had to be a computer mistake, some system error, some software problem, anything that could explain the unbelievable number glowing on the monitor. But the balance remained exactly the same. $78 million. $78 million quietly rested inside an account owned by a man who, only hours earlier, had been worried about paying for daycare. Her mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. The only sound she managed to make was a quiet whisper of the number itself. The whisper was loud enough that several businessmen walking through the lobby turned to look. The truth Daniel never expected. Daniel blinked in confusion. He had no idea why she looked so shocked. He believed something must be wrong with the computer. He politely explained that there had to be a mistake, because just a few days earlier, his account had almost nothing in it. What Daniel did not know, what he could never have guessed, was that 11 months earlier his late wife Claire had quietly built something that would change their lives forever. Claire had been brilliant, careful, patient. Without telling Daniel, she had slowly invested small amounts of money into a biotechnology startup started by her college roommate. She never spent a single dollar of the profits. She planned to surprise Daniel one day. She wanted to wait until the company became successful. She wanted to be certain everything was real before giving him hope. She wanted their family to have complete security. But life had different plans. Before she could tell him, she became seriously ill. Not long afterward, she passed away. The startup, against every expectation, became an incredible success. Only a few days earlier, the company had been purchased in a massive business deal. After lawyers completed the paperwork and banks finished processing the transaction, the money quietly appeared inside the joint account Daniel and Claire had not touched in months. Daniel never knew. He believed the account was empty. He had never checked it because every time he thought about it, he remembered that Claire was no longer there beside him. Looking at the account meant facing another painful reminder of everything he had lost. So he simply never looked. A gift of love that waited in silence. Vanessa slowly looked back at Daniel. Her hands were shaking. In a much softer voice, she asked if he would like a printed statement. Daniel simply nodded. His thoughts were racing. Disbelief, confusion, grief, hope. Every emotion seemed tangled together. Behind the counter, the printer quietly began to hum. As the paper slowly came out, Lily gently moved against her father's shoulder. She softly mumbled in her sleep, just as she always did whenever she sensed her father's heartbeat changing. Daniel kissed the top of her head. He whispered into her golden curls, "Everything is going to be okay." Even though he was still trying to believe those words himself. Standing in a lobby filled with strangers, Daniel suddenly understood something that made tears fill his eyes. The woman he loved had never truly stopped protecting him, even after she was gone. Without saying a word, she had planted a seed for their family's future. She had trusted that one day it would grow into exactly the safety their daughter would need. Respect arrived. Too late. Vanessa quietly lowered her eyes. She felt deeply embarrassed by the way she had treated Daniel only minutes earlier. She offered to personally introduce him to one of the bank's private bankers. Her voice had completely changed. Her attitude had completely changed. She stood straighter now. She spoke more gently. Not because Daniel had millions of dollars, but because she finally recognized the quiet courage standing before her. A father carrying a sleeping child. A man carrying a broken heart. Someone who had survived unimaginable loss without asking the world for sympathy. She finally understood that real strength cannot be measured by clothes, cars, or bank balances. Sometimes the strongest people are simply those who keep moving forward, one painful day at a time. Some love never truly leaves. Daniel left the bank that afternoon wearing the same torn denim jacket. He still carried Lily in his arms. He was still the same humble, hard-working father he had always been. Money had not changed who he was. But something inside him had changed forever. For the first time in over a year, his shoulders felt lighter. Not because he had become wealthy, but because he finally realized something priceless. Somewhere. Somehow. Claire had never really stopped taking care of them. Her love had simply found another way to reach him. If this story touched your heart today, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and send it to someone who may need a reminder that kindness, hope, and love often appear when we least expect them. Before you leave, comment the word Claire below if you believe true love never really disappears. Sometimes it simply finds a new way to remind us that we are never truly alone.